Yeah, we're live. All right, everybody. Hi. Yes, we are live. And it is a few hours away from the new year. So we're going to already say Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New
And
Year!
I tell you, we will fill you in on everything that's been happening. And my guest is the extraordinary, amazing Lisa Marie Platske. She is so phenomenal. And we are so blessed to have her available for our interview today. And as always, she's doing something magnificent. And we're going to share with you all of those details later. Let me get my set right. So, Lisa, welcome to Loretta McNary Live, the first, which will not be the last time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here. Anything with you is has got fun written all over it.
I hope so today because I am rushing. For those who think I just wake up like this and magic happens, you may get a different outlook today. I will share some things because I feel it is very important to be transparent. I don't want people to think it's easy. It is easy because I love what I do. I'm built for this. It's in my DNA. It's part of God's plan for me, and I know that, and I accept that. So Lisa is extraordinary. I will share some more high important things about her, but she's so humble. She's not moved by me sharing, but I do want you to know she is the real deal. She's been interviewed and quoted by some of the most amazing, talented leadership experts across the world, and she's here with us. So tell us, Lisa, a little bit about who you are as a person, and then we're going to talk about who you are professionally.
As a person is always more important, right, than any of the stuff that you do. And who I am really divinely connected. So that's the most important piece to me. And I think it's one of the reasons why you and I connect, Loretta, that element being so important. I have a farm in Kentucky, and my husband and I just purchased that, and so excited to be purchasing tractors and getting to be on the land. So the place has an event center, and what it does not have is internet, which is also really fascinating. And the who I am is just so grateful to be alive, and the who I am is so grateful to have the connections and the relationships in life that I have. And
I'm so glad you said that because you said so many dynamic things in just who you are, because most people think they are what they do. And that's why I wanted to be intentional about when I said, Lisa, who you are as a person and then who you are professionally. Yes, you still are that amazing guru leadership coach, person, expert, but you're more than that. So that's not who you are. As a whole, that's not the only thing you are. So that's my whole thing is I want to know who people are personally and then professionally. So that gives me a gist of who you really are. And the fact that you said that's your personal who you are is your favorite who you are. That's awesome.
it is, and this is the part where whenever I am talking to someone about their purpose, their divine mission, their calling, what I start with is, who are you? What do you want, and why does it matter? Those questions are hard questions for most people to answer because of what you said. The who you are is so often tied into what do you do? And that's not the question I asked. It's who are you? What do you want? And why does it matter? And the what do you do can sometimes morph and confuse people. I remember when I first left law enforcement and I was out going, okay, what am I going to do now? Feeling so like there was this piece of me that I was lost. I couldn't, almost wondering, well, what's next for me? Because so much tied into the what I did that I had lost sight of the who I was.
So when you were in law enforcement, and I love how you just threw that out there like you were throwing, some little food nourishment to a little birdie, which is very important too. You were in law enforcement. That's awesome. That's so awesome. When you were in law enforcement, did you had visions or just little miniature movies playing in your mind about the person that you are today?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I get that some people have that and they like, they know like who that person is that they're becoming. Not at all. I I had the internal feeling that I was destined, called to something greater than the work I was doing. And the work that I was doing was noble. So it's not that, it was better than, or it was just that it was different. I knew that there was something different that I was being called to. But when I look at my life now, there is none of it that I go, wow, I could imagine that. I didn't have a plan. I didn't write it down with all of this. No, not at all. So much of my life has been what I call following the breadcrumbs.
I love that. So what happened? What was do you remember the transition? Because I don't remember my transition when I decided when I was in corporate America that I wanted to inspire people to live at their highest level of expression, or that, but I did find myself always being that person people came to for information and advice. So maybe I refused to connect with that because I didn't know anybody who was doing that. It was for me and my mom and my dad. I had this amazing family, and our trajectory was already planned. It was go to school, do really well, stay out of trouble, don't get pregnant, go to college, get a good job. And
I got
then
that
life.
too. I got that too. Yeah.
And I'm so surprised that there's so many people that still believe that's all there is to life, is to get a good education, get a good job, and do good. But there's so much more, and I want us to talk about that today. And if you don't feel that, we're going to talk about how do you heal that place that kept you thinking work, family, do good was all there was to life. Because my sovereign God and all of his excellence and his almightiness, I just know he wasn't that three-dimensional. So what do you feel about that? There's more to life, everybody. There is so much more to be lived.
Yeah, and you ask about, like, did I know the exact moment? Did I have that intersection? And what I will share is that what I knew was that life that you described, the one that says go to school, get good grades, don't get pregnant, all of that, that was what I was told was successful. When I got into law enforcement, I was aware that there were certain values, drivers that were mine, and those drivers didn't have anything to do with that stuff. So, for me, there was freedom, and there was fun, and there was flexibility, and there was how do I take the parts of me that make me me and allow me to live my best life. And it was only little teeny moments, that choices that I made, but that came, Loretta, from a place when I was failing. Like, it came to a place when I was not at a place at work where the guys wanted to work with me. In fact, they would have preferred to work with somebody else. And I signed up for a leadership course, and the leadership course had a series of assessments, leadership assessments that I took. And when I took these assessments, I was thinking, I'm gonna be the A student, right? Like, I'm gonna get the assessments right, as if there's like a right answer. And I got the results back, and for one of the assessments, the instructor stood over me and announced to the class that I had scored a 0. And it wasn't a safe space to receive this. And she didn't stop there. She said, if Lisa invites you to do something and you show up, she doesn't really want to be there. And if you invite her to do something and she shows up, she's secretly wishing she was someplace else.
Oh my goodness. Can we stop right there? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if anybody other than me felt that in my soul, because I couldn't put it into words, but I have felt that. No one has publicly humiliated me with that, but I myself known Because what I say is, if you're going to leave, leave, don't leave and stay. Right. I hope that makes sense to people. Because when I was talking about corporate America, you know how when things don't go your way, you want to quit, or a relationship is not going your way. We have to learn to either work on it, but the worst thing you can do for all parties and yourself is to leave and stay. That means you're staying in this uncomfortable position or relationship, but you're not being your authentic self. You're not growing, you're not giving, you're just there to be there. Is that kind of like how she was saying you were, or
Yeah,
similar?
she was saying that my connection, so in my mind's eye, I was feeling that I was connecting with people, and what I recognized, so, nobody talked to me for the rest of the day, Loretta, and I drove home,
Oh. Hmm.
just really, I remember just the feeling of being alone on the planet, like even driving, like just alone on the planet, and having a conversation with myself that went something like, Lisa, you might be smart and tough, you might be strong and right, but you're going to be alone and dead, because the barriers that I had created to keep me safe, they actually kept me from having a meaningful and happy life. They actually, you know, for as open as I thought that I wasn't really connecting. Not when you look at this. I mean, this was a self assessment. Like, I assessed me. It's not like somebody else assessed me. I assessed me. She just simply shared what showed up in the assessment. And so when you're someone who grows up with experiencing domestic violence, when you're someone who grows up in unsafe situations, allowing people to be close is hard. And I didn't realize at the time how much it had gotten in the way of the things that I really wanted, gotten in the way of me dreaming about what was possible or connecting with people on a deep level.
Wow. I, you know, we already talked about we're going to do more than this one show, because when talking to you, Lisa, it's always soul work, SOUL work. It's always going to be soul work that happens when I interact and have conversations with you. And I never told you that. I never even said that word before, but I think that's going to be my thing, is teaching people how to do the soul work and not being afraid of it. Because when we are afraid of the soul work, we can do the superficial stuff. We're really good at that. We're really good at coloring inside the lines and
Yeah,
making sure everything is legible and that we're communicating effectively.
sure.
But what we are not good at is soul work, doing that work, that internal work. We're good at exercising, physically exercising, and even sometimes spiritually exercising. But that mental soul work, and that's why you're seeing a lot of people talking about mental health concerns and challenges have been on this planet as long as we could identify that it was a planet, because we beat ourselves down and we don't take time to heal. We we act. People said, you know, life is like a movie and we're acting. But if it's your movie, it should be authentic. You should not be acting. You should be projecting what's on the inside of you anyway, authentically. So I just had to say that, at least every time I talk to you, it compels me to listen to my soul and to acknowledge that, hey, that's me and I need to work on it. Or even I've worked on that. I've done that soul work. I'm a little better. No, not a little better. I'm better. So we don't have to quantify better, because if it's better, right? So
Absolutely. Amen to that.
you are so good for my soul when I talk to you. I promise you. So go on, go on. Didn't mean to disrupt you, but I wanted to really make people understand what that meant, and that's not just your story; it's all of our story, really.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, we each have something. Like, maybe it was the second grade spelling bee, or maybe it was something in corporate America, or something in, something that you did within your family, and where there's a piece of our spirit that gets crushed. And so what to do with that? Do you stop? do you continue to use that as fuel to propel you forward? And for me, it was an examination. It gave me an opportunity to examine, is this me? And what part of this are people seeing? It had me start to get curious with the guys that I was working with. It had me change how I communicated. It had me be able to see the times when I closed off. So when experiences like that happen, we have choices. Like we could just go, okay, that's like, I certainly didn't want to be embarrassed in front of all those people. Or we could say, well, what's mine to learn from this? What's mine to, to experience now? And so that's really what I took from that. And so what ended up happening is by doing that, by learning about connecting with others and learning more and doing the deep work that you just spoke about, the soul work, what happened was I was the fastest promoted officer in the agency. I ended up being promoted more than once. I ended up having guys want to work with me who didn't. I ended up having this, taking those same skill set when I opened my business 17 years ago to build connections and get contracts immediately and not have the same level of heartache. Did that take great amounts of courage? Yes. Did it take great amounts of vulnerability? Yes. Did it have, was it just a magic, like you flip the switch and now no, it's a journey. And that's the reason why my work, when I started off, was about tactical elements of leadership. People would come to me and how do I become a better leader? And I would talk about the tactical things that you spoke about. And we can do the tactical easy. It's the soul stuff, what I call the beingness of leadership. That's the hard stuff, because you've got to I had to look at what's my contribution? Like, how am I contributing to what I'm getting? Not like, what are they doing to me, but how am I contributing? And what in me have I experienced that's creating a barrier to me getting what I want?
Ooh.
Not what are they not giving me? What am I actually doing?
What are you doing? Because we do take that ownership if we are in a place for wanting growth. I want to slow down a little second because I have to play this, my own little promo. And then we'll come right back and we want to ask you the question. What are you doing to project probably what you really don't want to project, that other people are being offended or feel like it's not your best work? We'll be right back in just a moment. All right, so we're back, and I want you to just take a second, and not out loud because, of course, I can't see what you're saying, but perhaps you will email me or DM me. What is the one thing that, and we're talking about a negative thing that you're doing, that people may have said something to you, or they may have said something to others, or you feel that you are not giving your all, and it's recognized by someone that you love or And Lisa, did you think it was something you were doing intentionally, or it was just something inside of you that projected it without you giving it permission?
No, I think that being in someone who's experienced, trauma in their life or challenges, or my experience for myself was that I'm so open, I'm welcoming to others. I love people. And yet, if you looked at my behaviors, there were ways when I kept a distance. I'd share so much. I would, I was much better at wanting to be right instead of, one of the things I did was I expanded my vocabulary. I learned 3 new words, I don't know. So versus trying so hard to be perfect. And so I wasn't conscious that I was doing that. It was definitely when I slowed down and was willing to examine and go, well, what are my behaviors? What am I doing? That's when, I started to see it. And it wasn't like right at once. It was like a little here and there and going, all right, so what am I going to do with that? And I, today I talk about vulnerability, but I find it to be scary as all get out to share things about myself.
You know what? And then let me tell you something that is helping me with that, because I find myself that however I am with other people, I tend to see that's how I am when I'm in my prayer time with my Lord. That there are some things that I hide from Him, or I don't admit to Him, or I come with a smiley, happy face when I'm really troubled and I'm coming to Him in prayer for answers or to pray about it. But so I do people like that all the time. You never know what I'm feeling or what I'm going through. And being vulnerable, I think, is our truth and not a weakness. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's so when I first started my business and I was looking for a system, a process, like what do the best leaders do differently, and how can I have a shortcut? Because I got this criminal justice background and now I've got a business, and so how do I speed myself up? And so I started to interview leaders, and I came up with 7 pillars of leadership. And the 7 pillars of leadership were, they're not linear, but those were my message. And after I was doing this for about 10 years, what I recognized was there's a certain percentage of leaders that really get the beingness part. They're like the most courageous leaders. And so I went, okay, what do they do? What do they do outside of those 7 pillars that's so magical? And I started to look at that small percentage, that sort of 3%, 5% that I was seeing, and came up with 3 elements. And those 3 elements of courageous leadership, the second element is vulnerability. And I went, okay, so if vulnerability is an element, how do you get it? Like, vulnerability isn't just I tell you everything all the time. And what was fascinating, Loretta, to me, like the most fascinating piece, is that vulnerability only happens when forgiveness shows up. So that was really
Wow.
interesting. So
Oh my goodness. Okay, okay. You know I got to stop you, because if I don't, you'll drop 17 nuggets, and I'm still on that first one. Like one of my favorite poets, Nick Nova, he does that when he's doing spoken word. So say that again. Say that again about the vulnerability.
so vulnerability is not, it's not a marketing strategy, it's not a something you do. Vulnerability is how you bring your vision to life. And the way you unlock it is through forgiveness.
Wow. Through forgiveness. Is that of others or yourself, or is it inclusive of both?
Both. Both.
Wow.
So, one of the questions that this time of year, we're here, we are, it's towards the end of, like you said, we're hours left in 2021. And so one of the questions I share with clients, and I say, this is, we spend time on it to close out the year, and it's, what do you want to forgive yourself for and let go of in the year? Because most people move in with their goals and their aspirations and their desires and their excitement without ever closing out the year before. And when you look at the things that didn't work, you're able to close the book and go, okay, I'm not going to take this with me. Like, this didn't work out. This was disappointing. I want to forgive myself for this. I want to forgive myself for not getting it right in that situation. I want to forgive myself for not having the emotional intelligence to behave in a way that I know is the most beautiful, God-given, sparkly self that I have.
Oh, I love that. So let's take a step. So you said, I want to forgive myself for fill in the blank. So
Right.
is it just a matter of saying, I forgive myself? Or is there some kind of action that we need to attach to that verbal um, agreement that we're
Yeah.
forgiving ourselves? Is there an action?
There is an action, and the action depends on the person. So, for myself, the forgiveness is just one part. Then it's forgive and let go of. So
Mhm.
if the action doesn't involve like how you're going to let go of it, then I find that most people pack a suitcase and they bring it back into the new year. Like they say I'm going to forgive myself, but they don't really, because they don't let it go. And so what do you do to let go? And so sometimes I say to people, okay, well, you could find a string and like you literally cut the string and be like, I'm not you have a ritual, a burning ceremony, something that says like I'm cutting the ties to this. This is what I'm going to bring into the new year. So sometimes I've had clients put on their desk like a piece of string to represent the part that they left behind and the part that they're bringing with them. Sometimes it's writing. Some people are really big with writing and journaling. Not everybody's a journaler or a writer. So, if you are someone who writes, then you write it down and you let it go and you burn it in a sense of a ritual. So I don't look at it as there's one thing, but it's like the embodiment of it. Just like I envision putting things into my body, like, okay, God, give me courage today. Allow me to bend time. Give me additional courage. Sometimes I'll say, take things from me. Like, take this from me. Like, I don't know how, I can't figure out how to handle this in a way that will allow me to be the best version of myself. So, I'm going to I need you to show me how do I let this go, because I'm hanging on pretty tight and this I'm not so happy about this. And so sometimes it involves divine guidance and asking for help out of myself. So there's not a one size fits all, and I find that that's one of the pieces about what so many people want is like, here's the process to create what it is that you want. No, we're all, you might be my sister, Loretta, but we're different. And you know there's things that you and I do very similar, and there's things that we do very different based on our hard wiring and based on how
Yeah.
God created us. So how can
Oh
we
my goodness.
possibly have the same way to let things go?
Okay, so one of the other reasons I was so excited about having you on the show, and I knew I had to, is normally when I have these discussions about different topics, something like forgiveness or how to set goals, there's not a resource other than me pointing to a website or even one of my workshops. But we're talking, and all of this is really about up thinking and
Upside thinking. Yep.
upside thinking, and I we said level up or elevate, and that's what I want all of 2022 to be about for all of us, not just me, and beyond 2022. So how do you do that? That's the people love buzzwords, but they don't give you a resource or a way to really get more information, write down a plan, and then apply it, and then have accountability. But you have this phenomenal retreat coming up, and I just want to tell people to kind of pin it to your calendar if you can't make it, because the first one is in like 20 days. But she does them a lot. And I think retreats are far better for me. This is my personal opinion. I would prefer to go to a retreat that's smaller than to go to a big convention or conference, even if it's one of the world's gurus on leadership development or personal development or professional development, because that intimate setting, you get more attention, and you can almost have it dialed down and tailored to you. So talk to us about what's happening January the 20th, and then there's another one the following week.
Thank you. Well, the Upside Summit is January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And then we're doing it again. The Holy Spirit said, do it again the next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 27th, 28th, 29th. And it's in Scottsdale, Arizona at a retreat center. And there's space wise, we won't have more than 65 people there. So excited about about the event, because it's about practical leadership strategies, tools. You get templates, you get, your how to. However, it's not formulaic. It's not like this is the one way. You get to create it based on the tools that we give you, and you can do it on the spot. And then the people who are coming because they want to connect with other upside leaders. They want to connect with people to be able to share resources. There is one-on-one time. There's dyads, and I don't spend the whole time speaking. There's lots of opportunity to be in connection and to be doing writing or talking with others
Do
about
the
what it
work
is that
right
you want
there
to
where
create.
you can, guide them. So that's what I love about
Yeah.
your retreats and even your conferences. They're like that. So tell us why you use Up for everything. I love it because I have a power up group, I have a level up group, I have a mastermind pink up group. Tell me why you love doing up of otherwise simple work.
Well, upside thinking actually came because of as my husband coined the phrase, and why I turned everything into upside retreats, upside summit, upside programs, upside leaders, upside world changers. The reason why is because there's the up in divine consciousness and divine wisdom, looking up. There's also the up in that every situation has an upside. Every situation that we encounter has something where we can look at it differently and go, how did this happen for me? How did this happen, in a way that benefits me? And
Yeah.
so when I look at that option, that third option versus, A or B, that there's always that third option, I find the magic, and that's often the what I call the upside. And so it's both, divine consciousness and also ensuring. So it's not like positive thinking. I look at it as there's this higher element, this higher way of doing things.
Because it's a direction, it's a mandate. Like my women empowerment launch is called Power Up because it's so empowering. Because when you say, where are you going? I say, I'm going to power up. Or when the people who go say, where are you going? I'm going to power up. And that's the luncheon, the leadership development empowerment luncheon that I call Power Up. So I get the upside thinking. I love that you're using that. And I love another way that we connect spiritually as sisters and doing some soul work. So I'm just so excited. I don't know how much time we had. I think I just only asked for 30 minutes, but that has truly flown up like crazy. So any final words, anything you want to leave people with? You dropped so many nuggets, and everybody, yes, she's coming back. She's already agreed to come back to be our guest to drop some more tangible things that we can do to level up, elevate, and have upside thinking. And because what happens, it not only changes us, but it changes those around us, because now they see us showing up authentically, and we don't have to have those kind of weird conversations that Lisa had with one of her superiors when she was in law enforcement. But the beauty of it is you took that and made something grand happen. So in your closing, can you tell us, was that a pivotal moment for you after you had that experience with your
Oh,
superior?
absolutely. Absolutely. And for me, one of the parts that I really got along this journey is that the world needs you and your brilliance. Like, it needs every single person has a divine mission, purpose, and calling. And when we don't step into it fully, when there's a part we hold back, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, when we are not fully connected to that or giving to others, the world misses out. People miss out from our genius. We miss out from being able to give and being able to fully receive. Because if you don't fully give, there's no way to fully receive. And I didn't
Ooh,
that's why that for me was really pivotal, because there was a part of me that was hiding out from me. And
wow.
it's no one goes around. I don't believe anybody wakes up and goes, well, I hope today's the day that I'm going to not use my gifts. I hope today's the day that I don't, get it right. Nobody does that. And
No.
yet unconsciously, that's what happens, and the world
Yeah.
suffers. So
Oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. And the beauty of the kind of information and retreats and workshops and information that even on your Facebook post, I love your post. It's like an evening with you, in a room with you, listening, and how you share and deliver all this positivity, sharing your real life happenings with us. You don't cover it up. You share your ups, your downs, your challenges, those opportunities. I just feel so much better. And I feel like when I feel better, I'm a better mom, I'm a better daughter, I'm a better friend, I'm better in all my relationships for my clients, personal relationships. So let's do the soul work. Let's do, concentrating on outer work, physical body, minds, but let's do the soul work. Because when you change the way your soul feels and lives and shows up and responds and projects, that's when you make the right changes in your life. Those are the sustaining changes. And it is the upside of thinking and the upside of living that higher expression of who you really are. So I thank you all so much for tuning in. I love me some Lisa Marie Platske. She will be back. I am hoping to be in her presence at one of her retreats really, really soon. You can follow her on all social media. She has a website. I had it on here, upsidethinking.com, and she has another website. So make sure you Google her. That's what I want you to do. Google her and tell a friend to download the McNary Media Network app. Download it on your Roku, your smart TVs, and thank all the people around the world who are doing that thing. They are downloading that app and watching these shows. I love it. And let me tell you, 2022 is, I'm saying it now, it's already started happening. I'm already living. It's like somewhere it's already 2022, Lisa Marie, and I'm experiencing that new year now. Am I a new Loretta? I am an approved Loretta, and you'll see that as you continue to follow me and watch me. And guess what? It's like the unicorn dust. It comes off on everybody around me, and that's associated with me. So until then, think positive, dream big dreams, help someone along the way, and we will see you in 2022. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Thank you.